morning, everyone. Welcome to Larson Dairy Virtual Chat. I am Brittany with the Discover Dairy program, and we are so excited that you are joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Colleen and, of course, your adorable calves, Cookie and Glenda. Today's chat wouldn't be possible without the generous support of the Dairy Council of Florida and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. So thank you to both of those organizations for making today possible. First, this live chat is part of the Adopt a Cow program. And for anyone that is new to the Discover Dairy and Adopt a Cow program, it is a free online resource that covers Common Core standards in math, reading, and science, all while using those dairy concepts to teach those lessons. The resources can be found at discoverdairy.com, and we'll go ahead and put that in the chat for you so you have access to that website. We'd also love for you to join the Adopt a Cow Fund next year. So if you're interested in joining again, or you're new to this program and want to join the fund, you can register starting May 1st. In the meantime, since we're not quite there yet, feel free to go to discoverdairy.com/adopt and submit your email address in the submission form on the landing page, and we will make sure to get an email notification on May 1st. Next, everyone continues to join us live today, and you'll see that chat feature is enabled. We can see all of you commenting and joining us. Please feel free to keep using that chat feature, comment, ask questions all throughout our chat. Don't hesitate to go ahead and drop them in there, but please be mindful that all of our questions and comments do need to be school appropriate and related to the chat. We are really excited to hear your questions, and I know Farmer Colleen is really happy and excited to answer them. And before we turn it over to Farmer Colleen, I'm going to see who is joining us today. So I'm going to go ahead and hop onto our chat here, and let's see if we can do a couple of call outs. So we've got some folks, Music and Mindfulness from St. Augustine, Florida. Hello, good morning, everybody. Some folks from Cape Coral. We've got Orchard View second grade. Good morning, welcome. We have some, let's see, so Putnam County, Florida. We've got Mrs. Lowry's third grade class from South Florida. Awesome, welcome. We've got Evans Elementary School. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. And let's see if we can grab one more school here. We've got Mrs. Perez's first grade class. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for all of you for joining us today. We're really excited to have you. And I know Farmer Colleen is excited to get to hear all of your questions and chat with you too. So with that, I am pleased to introduce you to Farmer Colleen. Hey, Farmer Colleen, how are you doing this morning?
Hi, good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you, and I'm so happy that you guys are going to get to see your calves in just a second. So welcome to the farm. I'm here representing Larson Dairy. We are in South Central Florida in Okeechobee, Florida. Okeechobee is the leading dairy county in the state of Florida. So we're proud to be here and part of the dairy industry. Larson Dairy's been in South Florida since the 1970s. Before that, they were down in Palm Beach County. My family's patriarch great grandfather started down there, so that might be closer to where some of you are watching today. We milk about 3,000 cows on the farm, but they all start off as calves, just like Cookie and Glenda that you're going to meet in just a moment. So thank you for being here, and I can't wait to hear all of your questions.
Awesome. Wow, that's really cool that you guys have quite a history. Thank you for that intro about your farm. And my goodness, I am so excited to see our girls. I cannot believe, Farmer Colleen, how big they are. And I love that they're just munching on some hay here this morning. We would love to hear how they're doing. So it looks like Glenda wants to be buddy with you. So do we want to start with Glenda this morning?
Yes, she's always ready for some attention. So that's probably her biggest personality trait is she loves attention. So she had her feed this morning. So she gets her energy from a pellet of a combination of grains and other energy sources, but she loves hay all day long. So she eats about 10 pounds of feed right now. She's close to 500 pounds. She is a brown Swiss. They originally came from Switzerland, and they are known for being very strong and having really good conformation, really a strong breed, and their milk is known for having a lot of protein in it. So for some of you that want to get really nice and strong, those brown Swiss cows make milk that has lots of protein in it, along with the other breeds. And Cookie's over here behaving a little bit more as normal, just doing her thing, kind of like a Holstein does. A brown Swiss has a little more personality sometimes. So this is Cookie. She's just hanging out. She's a little bit smaller than Glenda. She's probably around 400 pounds. She's just about 10 days younger than Glenda, but they grow pretty fast at this age. She eats the same thing. When she grows up, she will likely make more milk than Glenda, but Glenda, like I said, makes milk with a little more protein. So as you can see, they love attention. These heifers have been shown at fairs throughout the state. Their last trip was to Miami, where Glenda had a pretty big day. She was the junior champion brown Swiss at the Miami-Dade Youth Fair. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Cookie placed well in her class too, and Cookie's friend is coming over here to join us. We have another Holstein, the one that's mostly all black. Holsteins can be a variety of colors. She's mostly black. Cookie's more a combination of black and white. And then we even have a red and white one in here. Her name is Nika, and she's an Ayrshire, and they were originally from Scotland, one of the first breeds to come to the United States a very long time ago in the 15 or 1600s.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, they are all absolutely adorable. I love they are loving this camera right now.
Oh yes.
You said Glenda was 500 pounds. I did not. How big was she when she first started? I think she was like maybe like 100 pounds, maybe.
Or less, maybe 75, 80 pounds. So she has grown very, very well. She likes mealtime. She eats twice a day, her grain and her energy, and then she eats hay throughout the day, or she munches on the grass in the backyard. And I know you guys in Florida are very familiar with palm trees, and a cow's favorite snack is the leaves from the palm tree. So when the leaves fall down, they like to chomp on those leaves off the palm tree. So cows can eat anything, or not anything, but a variety of things. So cows on the farm eat a lot of byproducts. They eat citrus pulp and cottonseed and things that we can't eat. But the base of their diet is forages, and so they get that from the hay, and like I said, even from palm trees.
Yeah, actually, so let's take a second on that. That is really cool. I love what you just said, that they can eat things that we can't. And you mentioned mentioned citrus. So that means it's waste from something else, right? Waste created by making a product that we can eat. And then instead of it just getting thrown away, we are able to feed it to our cows, and
so
they can
things
from it. That's really cool.
Things that we eat, so things like citrus pulp that comes from making orange juice, or things that we wear like cottonseed from making your t-shirt that you might have on. There's also byproducts that cows eat from the production of energy in the form of ethanol, and even from making your sugar from corn gluten feed, the leftover when they make corn, what is that called? Cornmeal? Corn syrup. Sorry about that. Yeah.
That is really cool. So they are an upcycler as a cow. They can reuse something and use it make it into energy. That is really cool.
Yep. They're pretty fascinating. And then we use their waste to fertilize the grass that then they eat later. So they are the ultimate recyclers.
That is really neat. I think if I am not mistaken, I'm up here in Pennsylvania, and we have Hershey around us. So a lot of farms around us get the byproducts of chocolate from Hershey plant. So I think our Pennsylvania farms get to eat some chocolate, which I think is pretty cool.
Don't tell these cows. They'll be jealous that they don't get the candy. Sometimes their favorite treat is, I'm kind of picky about my bananas. So I don't eat them once they start to get too many brown spots on them. But it's okay. I don't waste them, because none of us should be wasting food right now. We should be using it. And I use it to give my heifers a treat. So they love bananas, even if they have some of the brown spots on them.
Oh, I am sure they appreciate that very much.
Yes.
Well, so while we've been chatting, Farmer Colleen, we have had some really good questions come in about both of our lovely ladies. So if you're ready to answer some questions, I know some folks are excited to hear from you about that. Um,
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we talked about food a little bit and what they're eating, and I love that they're upcyclers. Someone was wondering how much water do they drink a day right now?
So when they're young, they at this age they're probably drinking 5 to 6 gallons a day. As they get, and especially in the summer as it gets hot, just like you and I drink a little more water in the in the summer when we're sweating, they do the same thing. But when cows get older, they have to drink 3 times as much water as the milk they make. So if a cow is making 6 gallons of or I'm sorry, if they're making 10 gallons of milk, they have to drink 30 gallons of water. So they do require a lot of drinking water to make all of that nutritious milk, because milk is about 87% water. So it's a great way to stay hydrated. And among the other nutrients that it provides, the water is used by the cow to make that nutritious milk.
Yeah. Now you're mentioning that they making milk. Are our ladies right now producing milk? And if not, when will they produce milk?
Not yet. So they were born in September. So when they turn a year old or a little bit after that, that's when they will become pregnant. And then 9 months after that, they will have their first calf, if all goes well. And they will have their first calf when they're about 2 years old, and that's when they'll start making milk. So at the farm, they have their calf. We make sure everybody's doing well. We give the calf colostrum, just like these girls got when they were babies, and then the calf is checked out just like a baby would be in the hospital, and then the mom starts making milk, and the calf is fed a little bit of her milk, but the calf only needs about a gallon of milk every day. And
Wow.
most of these girls will make about 10 gallons of milk every day. So we have all of that additional milk that we can use to drink, put on our cereal, make cheese, yogurt, all of those yummy things.
That sounds absolutely delicious. And I love that you mentioned some dairy products. I'd be curious, anyone that's watching us today, go ahead and throw in the chat what your favorite dairy product is. I would love to know what everyone likes. And while you're doing that, Farmer Colleen, do you know where your milk goes? Do you happen to know like who picks it up or who processes it or what it turns into?
We do. So in Florida, because we have so many people and not quite as many cows as some of the states like where you're from in Pennsylvania, we have most of our milk goes into fluid milk production, and that means that it is drinkable form. So that is the milk in your grocery store that's whole milk, the way it naturally comes out of the cow at 3.25% fat or 2% milk. Most of it is in that drinking form or chocolate milk. Our farm from Larson Dairy mostly goes to Publix. So that is a grocery store that most of you in Florida are probably familiar with. And then we have dairy producers in North Florida and South Georgia that their milk goes into some of the other grocery stores. But most of ours in South Central and South Florida goes to Publix grocery store.
Aha. So if you guys shop at Publix, it's very likely, and you pick up some fluid milk, sounds like you might be getting some Larson dairy milk, which is really exciting. And while you were talking about that, we have had many people let us know what their favorite dairy product is.
Excellent.
And I would say about 90% have said ice cream. So, and I would have to with all of you.
Yeah.
Ice cream is probably one of my favorites. But we also heard yogurt from Mrs. Kirby's first grade class, some string cheese, chocolate milk, cheese, just plain milk. Awesome. So I love to hear you all are drinking and eating dairy products. That makes us very happy in the dairy industry. So thank you for supporting the dairy industry and getting your 3 servings of dairy every day. That is awesome. So let's see, we've had some other really great questions come in. Let me just look here quick. So, they were wondering if Cookie and Glenda play, or how do you know what they do when they play, or even just happy, sad in general?
my favorite thing was watching them. So when they're little, we like to keep an eye on them and make sure they don't get into any trouble. Just like maybe when you guys were little, you had baby gates or things to protect you. So we have some smaller calves that aren't quite ready to go out into the pasture yet, if we want to look at them over there. And so when they're in those little pens, they don't have as much room to run around. They interact and they lick on each other and that kind of thing. But when they are let go into the pasture, they run in circles like it's a race. So that's one of my favorite things to watch. And every time I move cows from those, those pens where they're still drinking milk out into the pasture, I usually film them every time because it's just so entertaining. So these girls that you're looking at right now, that one is a red and white Holstein. So even Holsteins come in different colors. They can be black and white or red and white. And they are about 3 weeks from being weaned. So in about 3 weeks, they'll go into one of these pastures and they will have the time of their lives, kicking and running and jumping and, just playing with each other. And a lot of times they lick on each other's necks. That's one way that they interact. We don't like it when they lick on each other's ears because then they can chew up their ear tags and then we have to replace their ear tags. But a lot of times they lick on each other's necks and they just, kind of hang out together. Most of the time when they're resting, they kind of rest near each other, kind of like nap time at the preschool. They kind of hang out together.
Oh my gosh, look how cute they are. I cannot believe our calves were that little at one point. They grow so fast. And I know we were talking about that a little bit earlier. Someone had asked just for repeat on weight. So I think you had said like 450 for Cookie, 500 for Glenda. Someone had asked, now how big will they be once they're full grown and when are they considered full grown?
So somewhere around 2.5 years old is when cows are usually 2.5 to 3 years old, depending on the breed, is usually when we consider them to be full grown. So even when they have their first calf, they'll continue to grow throughout that next lactation. So by the time, they're 3 years old, they should be full grown. The mature body weight for a Holstein and a brown Swiss is somewhere around 1,400 pounds. It's kind of interesting. They're getting a little smaller just throughout the country because we're learning that smaller breeds can be more efficient at making milk and they don't have to eat as much. So we're becoming more sustainable by learning that, that smaller cows don't necessarily need as much inputs and they're just as good at making that quantity of nutritious milk.
Wow. I love to see how much the dairy industry can progress. We've come so far just in the last 50 years, and it's really exciting to see those kinds of improvements coming in the future. I have to ask, what's something that you're excited about in the dairy industry that maybe you see on the horizon, or something that you guys are implementing on the farm, or anything like that?
So on the farm where these girls will go in just a few months, the mature cows are all housed in freestall barns, and that's so we can keep them cool in the summer. There's some really cool technology on automatic cooling and the fans kind of turning on when the temperature gets high enough that those fans and sprinklers need to be on to keep the cows cool. But I think the most interesting thing is those cows, when they go to the bathroom and they poop, all of that poop is being turned into liquid fuel in the form of methane, and it is going to help power our homes and our cars and anything that requires power. So not only are they recycling byproducts from other food and other types of industries, they are also then generating power. So I think cows are incredible, and it's amazing that they can, help our environment while feeding us at the same time and providing jobs for our families and people in our community. I think they're pretty fascinating.
That's amazing. I poop to power is what right? That's
That's right.
So cool. I love that. So they're upcyclers, they are creating energy, and the cows are just an incredible animal. Thank you for sharing that. That's a really cool fact. So we've been checking out these ladies, and I think we got a really good view of it when we were with a baby calf, but these ladies have it too. They were wondering what the numbers on the ear tags are for, and maybe just talk about the ear tag a little bit.
So the ear tags are just, they help us keep track of who they are and when they were born. So at Larson Dairy, we use a series of number. 8 is the barn that they come from. So they all start off with that 8 on the top. And then the next number on the bottom is the year that they were born. So the two on Cookie right here means that she was born in 2022. And the 879 means that she was the 879th heifer calf that was born at Larson Dairy that year. So as opposed to Glenda there, you can see that she was the, what was she? The 726th heifer calf that was born that year. The other tag that you can see in their ear that the little ones didn't have is that little round button. And we had a little mix up with Cookie. She has 2 of them, and that was my mistake. So anyway, that tag actually has a little electronic reader in it, and that's being done to kind of track animal movement across the state and across the country. When we go to fairs, they scan that and they make sure they know where animals have been in case there was ever any kind of disease outbreak or any problem that we had to track and make sure that our food supply was safe. It really helps make that process quicker and easier for our, our state and national officials to do that. So thankfully, milk is a wonderfully nutritious product that we, have not had to worry about that and, really ever. But it, if it ever happened, we just want to make sure that our food supply is safe for everyone.
That's incredible. I did not realize your first 2 numbers were correlated like that with your farm. So that's a really neat, not many farms, I think, at least not a lot of farms we work with, have that much detail into the numbers. So I think that's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that.
It helps when you're just walking by to see,
Right.
just to keep an eye and know who she is. Once in a while, we have cows that get pretty old. And so if they're older, than basically 10 or 12 years old, then, that first number repeats. And, then we can look at them visually and realize that. But most of the time, that doesn't happen.
Right. No, absolutely. Now you mentioned 10 or 12. Is that like the average or the oldest cow? What's kind of the average age for a dairy cow?
So the average on this farm, the average age of a dairy cow is somewhere around just under 7 years old. So the average number of lactations is a little over, 3.5 or 3.6 lactations. We try to keep them healthy and happy on the farm as long as we can. But just like cows walk or calves walk on the very first day that they're born, and they make, milk and have their first baby when they're only 2 years old, they grow up a lot faster than us. So we say, 10 years for a cow is like 1 year for a person. So if we equate it to a person, they live on the farm until they're, close to 70 years old.
Yeah, and that's a pretty great life. I mean, they're big animals, so that makes sense. That 10 to 1, I like that. That's a good ratio to keep in mind. Thank you. Now you mentioned, obviously, the goal is to keeping them happy and healthy as much as possible. That is always our goal. But someone was curious, do cows ever get sick? And if they do, how do you help them feel better?
So cows can get a variety of things just like we can. They can get a cold that we just have to, keep an eye on them and make sure that they are, recovering. Probably the biggest problem that we can have on the dairy, because they are milking cows, is they can get an infection in their udder that's called mastitis. So when a cow gets mastitis, we obviously don't want to sell that milk because it's not healthy for us to consume. So we put her in a special pen. We call it the hospital pen, and we diagnose what type of infection she has, and then we treat it with an antibiotic if she needs that. So all the antibiotics are used under, Glenda is really giving me a hard time, sorry. All the antibiotics are used under a veterinarian's prescription, and they tell us, which kind we should be using and how long to use them. And then when that milk has no more mastitis and no antibiotics left in it, then that cow can go back into the herd. So that's probably the most common thing that, happens. But we have very well-trained people at the farm that, detect that very quickly, or we have some automation also that detects that. And those cows, are taken out, treated specially, given medicine, and then also given, things like electrolytes and fluids to keep them recovering and feeling better.
Sure. No, absolutely. I love that. And you mentioned veterinarian, which is one of the many professionals that you work with on your farm. And I think you had even mentioned nutritionist earlier when we were talking about feed. So lots of really cool job opportunities that you guys that are in the dairy industry that you work with that helps your farm run smoothly. And then you mentioned all of your amazing workers on your farm that watch all your cows and take care of them. And so I'm curious about, do you know how many employees you guys have on the farm? And how many, and remind me how many cows again you have on your farm?
We have about 3,000 cows and about 25 employees. So
Wow.
about a quarter of those employees, their job is to milk the cows every day. That is the heart of the dairy, is the people and the cows going into the parlor to be milked. And then we have a couple people that feed the cows every day. The cows get fed 3 times a day. Their feed is delivered to them in a big giant mixer wagon that is pulled behind a truck and tractor, or a tractor or a truck. And then we have a few people that are in the herd looking for those cows that are sick. We make sure that they're eating. So that's the first way that we can, sometimes tell if a cow doesn't feel good, is if we walk in front of her and she has a big pile of feed in front of her that she hasn't eaten. So we have people going through the herd to check and make sure that they're well. And then obviously there's a lot of moving parts at the dairy. So we have people that are there to fix things. And then the job that I've done the most on the dairy is helping the cows that are pregnant deliver their calves. So 24 hours a day, we have someone at the farm who is checking and making sure that the cows who are having their babies are in a clean, dry place where they can, not be disturbed while they're having their baby, and that they take care of those babies when they're born, and that they don't need assistance. Because just like a baby at the hospital, once in a while, the baby's turned around backwards or, something like that. And they sometimes need assistance. So to me, that's a very important job, because we have to get them off on the right foot. If I would just keep scratching her neck, she would not hit me, right? She just wants that attention. I keep forgetting.
Oh my goodness, she is a love bug. I can clearly tell. So I've had a couple people ask, so hopefully we can try and get an estimate here. People were wondering about what a new height is on these cows because they were hoping to chart it. I know we had said Cookie at 6 months was 40 inches, and at 6 months for Glenda, she was 41.5 inches. So any estimates about how much bigger they've gotten since 6 months old?
They kind of slow down a little bit. I'm trying to base it off of me. I would say they've probably both grown another probably 1.5 to 2 inches since then. They've started to what I call kind of fill out more. They've become more of a ruminant. That big giant stomach inside of them is fully functional, and so they're kind of growing longer and more out instead of growing quite as much up at this point. But they've both probably grown about 2 inches since then.
Wow. So, yep. So for anyone that's charting it, that puts Cookie at about 42 inches and Glenda at about 43.5 inches. So that way everyone can go ahead.
Yep, that seems about right.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, we've had a lot of questions, so I wanted to make sure we got that taken care of. That way everyone can chart it. A lot of people have a growth chart in their classroom.
Oh, that's great.
Following along their calf growth. So
I would suspect that they are probably as tall as some of the students now. So I hope that, if they're charting them, they can see that they're probably just about as tall as some of them if they're in, some of the younger grades.
Yeah, absolutely. And they'll get bigger yet, but yeah, right now at 7, I guess they're 7 months old or so right now? I think.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Awesome. Farmer Colleen, we are getting ready to wrap up here today. You guys have all asked absolutely amazing questions. But before we tuned off today, I did want to ask you one more question. Obviously, these girls love you and they are very well taken care of, and they are they look beautiful. You can see them shining in the sun. And so clearly you love what you do, but I'd love to know why. Why have you chosen to be a dairy farmer? Why do you do this every day, morning and night? What's your reason behind being a dairy farmer?
I love that question because there's so many reasons why. Obviously, you can see one of them right now. It's really hard to have a bad day when you are around these calves. And then when you take it to the next step further and you realize what they do for our community and our environment, they help us, feed people, they help people, have jobs and livelihoods, and then they even help us generate power in the form of, methane digesters that are being put in all over the country. So it's really hard to come up with a negative thing. When I look at all of the opportunities in the dairy industry and all of the things that they provide, when I see a kid enjoying ice cream, like I know many of you, hopefully we'll get to have some ice cream after school, or you have that glass of milk, that big glass of milk in the morning that just tastes so good. Those are all of my reasons why. So obviously, just the calves and the cows, I really enjoy working with them. But when I think about the bigger picture, that they provide food for our families, while also allowing families to have a livelihood and a job, and allow us to do what we love. It's just kind of comes full circle for me.
Yeah, no, they are amazing animals. Thank you so much for just being an amazing dairy farmer and being an amazing host for this program. We've already have a bunch of people saying thank you so much for being in this program and sharing Glenda and Cookie with us. They've been a lot of fun to follow. I know they've been kind of in a separate special pen with you since they were some fancy show animals for the year, and I know they'll be joining the big herd soon. And we wish them the best of luck as they get to join the big girl herd, I guess, and become a milking cow in about a year and a half or so. And before we jump off today, Farmer Colleen, is there anything else you want to share with us today?
Just thank you for being here. Enjoy your ice cream that I know you all are going to have this afternoon, because we're all going to be thinking about ice cream from now on.
Yeah.
That you mentioned it's your favorite treat. So enjoy your day, and thank you so much for coming on to see Cookie and Glenda and myself. Have a wonderful day.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Farmer Colleen. And thank you all, just as she said, thank you so much for being part of this program. We hope you have enjoyed it. We really look forward to having you in the program again next year. Don't forget to sign up starting May 1st, and we will start again in October for the new school year.